Cav Cop here. My last video, I kind of did a little bit of a walkthrough of some of my vehicles and some of the stuff I keep in them as far as like a first aid kit, a survival kit, and I guess a blowout kit as some people call it. And today I want to do a follow-up to that. I want to bring in the first aid kit. So the first aid kit that I showed you that I have in my 3 vehicles, do a little table dump and just go over them just to give some ideas. Understand that when emergencies happen, a lot of times you might be the actual first responder on scene for yourself, your kids, your family. When police show up, they're not going to show up with any kind of medical stuff at all with them, and ambulances aren't going to show up until a scene is secured and taken care of. If you're out in a rural area, far away from the big city, on a road trip or something like that, there's no telling how long it could take for help to get to you. So the immediate help that you can provide to yourself and your families is going to be a bit more important. So if you can, we'll go through and look at this stuff and you can decide what you need. But as a minimum, you should probably have some bandanas, some bandages and stuff like that, and know how to apply some simple stuff in case you're ever in need of first aid and you're able to apply it yourself. Let's go inside. Alright, so I've got some aid kits. The pouches right here, I believe I got from LA Police Gear, and they're made in Vietnam, not China, so that was a plus. I want to say they're like $5 each on clearance. I don't know if they still have them there. I got them a year or two ago. But I ended up basically getting these to set up as a little aid pouch to be in my vehicle, whether we're going on trips or some rural areas and everything. Kind of set them up identical. One has a purple knife here, the other one has a black one. They're Spyderco's. But I'll go over and kind of show you what's inside the kit and everything. Alright, so I loaded it up. We have some gauze just for packing and wrapping. Gauze is just kind of like a universal cloth thing. Have another wrap right here. It's medical. You can use it to cover stuff or plug stuff up if you need to. Little Spyderco knife. An IV starter kit. Comes with some tape, a little restriction band like you're going to do a blood draw or something like that with. And it also has a cover for if you set it up to protect the wound and everything. Basic bandages if you need to put a band-aid on a boo-boo owie, get a cut on your finger, don't want to get dirt in it. Some antiseptic wipes. This right here is what we used, I think, as a police officer, the Vionex, for if you think someone has some kind of disease, bloodborne pathogen or something, it's good to wipe stuff down with that. Some alcohol wipe pads, some iodine. Got to be careful, some people are allergic to iodine. Same thing with like latex. Let's see, and then normal ointment that you might put on if you have some kind of cut or injury. Shears, I highly recommend these. You can get these kind of cheap. If you do get them, make sure you get them from like a medical supply place or something. But these shears are pretty good and handy to have for cutting clothes, boots, stuff like that. They can even cut pennies and wires and stuff if you need to do that. Just an eye pad in case you get an injury to an eye or something like that. Some more alcohol wipes. Some more of the wound covers. Some oral salts if someone's dehydrated or something on the side of the road. Give them a little bit of water in this. You don't want to give them too much water and everything, but you need to give them a little something to help out. Then we just have some little pads, tampon non-adhesive, but just basically pads you can put on injuries and stuff. And then again, I have a chitosan dressing here. This is something that we got issued in the military, but if you have major arterial type bleeding and stuff like that, you can pack this into the wound and it'll help stop it. Super glue or crazy glue, the kind of stuff you can use if you get a good slice on your finger or something like that. If you use butterfly bandages and some crazy glue, you can get it kind of sealed up a bit, whether it's temporarily or even for long-term care if you go back and reapply it and stuff. But lots of different uses for it, but it can be used as medical skincare stuff in emergency. Have some extra gloves here. Said gloves I think are important if you're going to be working, especially with someone that you don't know that's injured or you don't want to cross-contaminate stuff. Some more medical tape for the different pads and stuff that can be put on stuff. A little breathing J tube that you can put down someone's mouth if they're clenching, having seizures or stuff like that. Basically, you put it in towards the roof of the mouth and then turn it over, and provides them an airway if they need it. And again, we have another cat tourniquet here. Highly recommend you get the official cat tourniquets. 6-inch Israeli dressing. I showed that in my other video how these go on for a 6-inch one. This right here is an old bandana that the military used to use, a green one. Handkerchiefs and bandanas are very handy. You can use them as, get them wet, use them as a mask to filter stuff out. You can wear them as a face covering if you need to. If there's a dust storm, you can put them on. If you need to filter certain water and things like that, you can put these over like a canteen cover or something and use it to be a filter. You can wrap wounds with it, and you can even make them as an improvised tourniquet and stuff like that. So having a bandana or some type of cloth bandage thing like that is very handy to have. Man, these are just some needles and a scalpel. Most people probably don't need something like this, but in certain situations it may be handy to have something like this already set up. But that's basically the gist of it. Hope you get an idea of what's laid out in my little first aid kit. But as long as you have something in your vehicle, it's better than nothing, especially when you realize people get in accidents on highways. Police have a while to respond, and when police show up, they're not going to have any medical equipment usually, other than maybe a tourniquet and some basic stuff like that to plug bullet wounds. But you're going to have to wait for EMS to get there, depending how far out you are. Some places it can take 20, 30 minutes for EMS to get out there. Being able to do the initial first aid on people is a life-saving thing. It doesn't matter if it's in a war zone, doesn't matter if it's in a shooting, doesn't matter if it's in an accident. That immediate medical aid that you provide is going to help someone survive. So it's a good idea for yourself, for your family, for your friends to have some kind of medical kit. It doesn't need to be this big. It can be less items tailored to what you need. You can buy pre-made kits. That's on you. Some are good, some are bad. Some stuff expires, but it's good for a while. You may want to check if where you work at or something like that, they might have medical kits they replace every couple of years. And even if you get an old kit that they're going to get rid of, a lot of stuff in there hasn't expired and is still usable and everything. Something's always better than nothing. Hope you enjoyed this. Cav Cop out.